Selling your home to an investor sounds easy, right? Quick cash and no hassle. You might be tempted by that fast offer because it sounds like you're getting a great deal. But before you jump into an investor agreement, ask yourself, am I really getting the best price? What if that easy transaction wasn't so simple after all, and you could be leaving thousands and thousands of dollars on the table? And how certain is that investor's offer? Are they buying your house, or are they just flipping the contract to someone else down the road? Imagine this. If you're willing to wait 1 week, that's just one weekend. That means you can sell to a homeowner that will pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 more than an investor will. My name is George, and for the last 10 years, I've been helping people buy and sell real estate here in St. Louis. I know exactly how investors work because I sold over 70 houses last year, and 50 of those were for investors, owner by contract. Here's what most people don't realize. There's a wide variety of homes that sell as is on the market. But don't mistake as is as worth less. We got top dollar for those properties even when we sold them as is. Whether your home is move-in ready, it needs a few repairs, or a complete renovation, the market almost always bears a better price than what the investor is willing to pay. So let's break down who the buyers are for each one of these types of homes and why even selling an as is, they'll still pay top dollar for that home. First, let's talk about the reality of selling to an investor. The moment that you get that offer, it sounds like a pretty sweet deal. Quick, easy, and done. But before you sign on the dotted line, let's dig just a little bit deeper. Here's something that people really don't realize, that investors, they typically don't use their own money. They have a financing partner, just like a regular home buyer. Many of the investors are looking to lock up the property with a contract, and then they'll go and shop that contract around to their investors, to their buyers, to their contractors, who will then put the property on the market for pretty much the same price that you could sell your house for today. And that fast closing, sure, many of them promise a fast closing, but many investors don't even close themselves. Because what happens if they can't find a buyer that will then buy the contract from them? Well, they'll leave you high and dry, unfortunately. And yes, we know that investors tend to lowball, but are they really doing it to you as a favor to help you close quickly and move on? Or are they just trying to lock up their profit to either sell in the MLS with the exact same conditions or flip it to another buyer for them to flip on the MLS? Now, don't get me wrong, there are some investors out there that will pay with cash and will close in 2 weeks. But typically those are the lowest paying investors in the market right now. Those are your true investors that are going to actually buy the house and then flip it. They'll have significantly more money and time in the property than a wholesaler will, which is the majority of the investors out in the market. Here's the truth about the market. Over the last 5 years, a home that is priced correctly and marketed very efficiently will sell within the weekend. And what I mean by sell is that it's under contract with its buyer within 1 weekend. Many of my clients have asked me, and they've been surprised to my answer when I tell them that it only takes 1 weekend when the house is priced appropriately. Take, for example, this house here on Highway 185 in Beaufort, Missouri. We sold this house as is, and we sold it for $41,000 more than what an investor offered my client before we took it to the market. Now, we had to sell it twice because the buyer's inspection didn't go as they planned, and they asked us for $30,000 off the property. However, we knew that the property was competitively priced, and we launched the property back on the market, and we were under contract again within 1 weekend. It had over 900 views on Facebook, and on Zillow it had 700 views. Each weekend we had over 20 showings. And yes, that's out in the middle of nowhere, Beaufort, Missouri. It had no flooring, and it needed to be completely renovated. But who was willing to pay the most money? It was a home buyer that was going to customize the house, add flooring, paint, remodel, and they were going to live there, not flip it. And that's the kicker. When you list your home on the market, you're not locking yourself up with one buyer and one offer. You get to shop all the buyers that are interested in your type of home in your location. And that's how you drive the price up. When you sell a home as is, the investors that want to flip it, and the buyers that want to live there will compete against each other. Those home buyers are willing to pay more because they're going to be there for 7 to 10 years based on the most recent NAR statistics. This is basic economics because the supply for homes is still very low and the demand is through the roof still. Now, if you've been holding on to this idea that listing on the market will take months, let me tell you something. A home priced right will only take a weekend to sell. When you list your home, you're not just waiting for a buyer to come around, you're attracting the right buyers. You tap into a pool of home buyers that are actively in the market right now, searching for a house because they're ready to move up, they have families coming, or they're trying to get out of a lease because they're tired of paying rent and dumping money into a landlord's pocket. Buyers are willing to pay list price all day long when a home is priced the right way. So how do you maximize your return when you're listing a house on the market? Well, that's a part of the plan right there, is making sure you're pricing it competitively. I've listed a couple hundred homes over the last 10 years, and I could tell you right now, most home sellers ask me, what if we price the property higher and then reduce the price? And then they're also really concerned about pricing it too low because they might leave some money on the table. That was a valid concern when I first got into the business, and we had so much inventory we didn't know what to do with. Now inventory is so small that pricing it right or just below what the comparable sales show will drive interest through the roof on the first weekend. But here's the key when we're talking about pricing. Pricing has to match the condition and location of the home, because there's 3 tools that we have as a real estate agent and a seller: pricing, marketing, and condition. We can change the price, we can change the marketing, and we can change the condition. But other than that, the floor plan, the elevation of the property, and the location, well, we can't change any of those things, but those 3 things we can control. I'm going to share a little secret with you that not many agents or sellers know, is that the list price of a sold comparable is just as important as what the property sold for. I know this firsthand because I've used this on myself, my parents, friends, and other family members, where we followed what the list price said when we list the property and not just the sales price. And in every case, we sold the property for more money each time and with less terms. Wouldn't you like an offer that didn't have inspections, or the inspections were very limited? What about no financing? So even if they were financing, you would get their earnest money if they failed to close. Pricing the property correctly not only allows you to get your price that you're really after, but it also helps dictate the terms that you want, because every term within a contract associated with it is risk. Risk that either the buyer may not perform or that they'll ask you for more money. The thing about leverage and negotiating that nobody really wants to talk about is that the person that can walk away from the deal actually has the leverage. And if you're the seller and you can walk away from the deal because you have a backup offer or you had multiple offers when you listed the property, you've got the leverage. That means that you don't have to agree to every inspection item or an inspection at all, or a condition to the appraisal that might come up. By taking a strategic approach to pricing, negotiating, and marketing, you can get top dollar for your house, and really you have no need to compromise. A common misconception is that selling to an investor is the only way to get a hassle-free closing. But here's the thing, you can have both. You can get the price you want and to sell quickly when you list your home with the right strategy. So the reality is, if you want to sell as is, you can, and you don't need to make repairs, and you don't need to make concessions, and you don't need to lower your price. There are plenty of buyers that are willing to buy your house in the condition that it's in right now. You just have to tell them about it. Whether it's a fixer-upper or a home that needs a little bit of attention, there's a buyer that's willing to take it on. Now you might ask, but what if my house needs major repairs? I can't tell you how many houses I've sold that need major repairs. I'm talking roofs, foundations, complete guts. Some houses like that require a strategic approach. Either way, going to market will net you more money in the long run. than what an investor is willing to pay. That's because we're able to tell a story about the potential in the property versus not telling anyone at all and locking it up with an investor. When you list your home on the market, you create competition, and competition drives up the price. When more buyers want your home, you're in control. You can take the easy sounding investor offer that I promise is loaded with uncertainty, or you can list your home, and it doesn't have to be with me. But what I'm saying is, don't leave money on the table, because when you list your home, you're going to attract more buyers. You're going to get more money for your house. One of the things that I think is important in this industry is honesty. All this information is relevant whether you work with me or not. Now, if you want to work with me, feel free to reach out. My contact information will be in the description below. Want to see how much your home could actually sell for? I have a tool in the description below as well that you can click on and put your address in. Now, I'll probably get your information, but I promise not to share it with anyone, and I'm not going to reach out to you if you don't want me to. If you do reach out to me, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get loads of honesty and transparency about your house, about the market, about the potential buyer that will buy your house. That way we can strategically market to them and focus on getting the most money for your house as quickly as possible. Ultimately, my goal is to hit your goal. The great thing is I'm not a new agent, and I'm not going to be desperate to get your house sold. So you know you're going to be getting the best advice, one that's going to be looking out for only you. Just a little bit more insight on how I operate. If we do look at your property, I'll walk the house, I'll tour it just like a buyer, I'll make notes of the good, the bad, the ugly, and you'll walk through about how you want to hit your goals and where you want to be once you sell the house. At the end, you'll have a very clear way of understanding exactly how we're going to get to your goals, how much it's going to cost, and what we should be able to sell your house for, and how quickly we will sell it for. Thanks for watching the video, and I don't want to see you leave money on the table, whether that's with me or another agent, or even if you're selling it on your own and you're going to list it on a for sale by owner site. That's even better option than selling it to an investor, because I guarantee you that anything that involves marketing the property to a broad demographic is going to net you more money versus listing and locking your property in with just one buyer. That's the investor. If you like this video and you want to see more honesty and transparency from real estate agents, then like, subscribe, and share with someone that's gotten an investor letter